if you are joining me after you have watched this video, you'll notice that we're the same spot, same attire, same cup of tea. And that is because I'm filming it on the same day. I'm really having a hard time getting content done and up on time because of all of the shifting things that are happening right now. It's hard to find a quiet space to really do anything, but we're gonna make it work the best that I can today. And while I'm sitting here filming, I figured we might as well. Every time I am talking, there's a text message. But I figured while I have the camera and everything set up, let's get into the next video so I at least have 2 videos done. Not that you guys actually requested that explanation, but there you go. I think I really love to over-explain myself. Either way, if you don't know what we're doing today, I am going to be creating a, where did I just put it? A TBR jar. I used this originally for like affirmations, but we are going to actually end up using it for my TBR for the end of the year, as I just picked all the books that I would like to read by the end of the year, and that was the video that was uploaded before this one. So that is what we're gonna do, but I figured while I do that, we can also talk about some hot takes. So let me get you guys in a little bit better of a position because you're really high right now. There we go, that's pretty good. All right, now this is going to be probably silly, but I just asked ChatGPT some Bookish hot takes that we can kind of talk about while I create this little TBR jar. So the first one that it gave me was basically saying not every book has to be 500 plus pages. And I definitely agree with that. I have read a couple of books, even this year, to be honest, that I was like, wow, this book really didn't need to be this long. I think we just kind of dragged things out for the sake of making it a 400 plus book or whatever. And I'm trying to think of anyone in particular right now. I went to go rewatch my TikTok where I kind of talked about like the books that I had hauled. One particular book that stood out to me in that video that just felt incredibly long for no reason, and I feel like that may not be an accurate thing to say because I didn't actually finish the book, but that was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, I think was the name of the book. I got that book a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago now, and I remember picking it up thinking it was going to be kind of like a horror type of book, and it wasn't exactly that. It was very reminiscent of like Groundhog's Day, where we kept repeating the same thing over and over again, and that book was quite thick and hefty, and I felt like I really wasn't getting anything from it or getting anywhere. And for me, that felt like a definition of a book that just really didn't need to be as long as it was. There are definitely more that I'm sure I could think of. One that actually surprised me though was a book that I read very recently this fall, and that was If It Makes You Happy, and this was by Julie Olivia, and that was a very, very, very popular book this fall. And I just was when I went to basically purchase it off of from my Kindle, I looked at the page count regrettably on Amazon and was like, why is it so long? It was like a 400 and some odd page book. I was like, but this is like a romance. Why is this so long? I will say though, you didn't feel the length of the book when you were reading it. So that, I think, is the key. Some books are written really well and the premise really kind of supports the length of the book, and some we just could live without. So that is my thoughts on that. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you enjoy longer books? Do you prefer shorter books that get straight to the point? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, what was the point of that book? Was it 7? 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that was a hard one to remember because that one also makes me think of The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Very, very similar title names because it's 7 and Evelyn in the title. I'm not really doing much decorativeness to this jar. I don't even know what I just did, but that's gonna go on the jar so I know what it is. So let's get that on the jar first. I think I may have cut this a little bit too long. That's fine. That'll do. I really could have done a lot more, but bear with me guys because I'm really exhausted right now and I'm trying to conserve my energy as much as possible so that I can heal quickly, but you know, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, unfortunately. And I also still need to get these videos done, so and as I was trying to make sure it didn't move, it moved. Alright. I wonder how many hot takes we'll get to. I think it's always really fun to get other people's opinions on like some of these like topics that come up. Just because not because, you know, I'm looking to share the same thoughts and opinions as other people every single time or want validation in my thoughts and opinions, but I think that we need to be able to welcome and embrace everyone's thoughts and opinions because that's what makes being human so beautiful and magical. And I think right now there is a lot of my opinion is right and yours is wrong in the world, and I just feel like that's not necessary. We are meant to be different for a reason. But yeah, so the next hot take is audiobooks count as reading, sometimes even more because you actually finish them. Yes, I believe that is 100% true. Now, I feel like there is a lot of discourse around that particular topic because a lot of people feel that if you are not physically reading the book, then you are not reading the book. Now, what I like to challenge people with is, what is reading? You're putting words together and being able to comprehend and understand what those words are saying, and they are normally in the form of a story. I don't know. To me, I feel like that's just such a silly like conversation to have, and actually I want to look up the definition or like an actual breakdown of that because I think it is such a silly thing to say and it's such a silly stigma. Quite frankly, I think it's a stupid stigma, but I once did some research on this as well because I was like, I'm so sick of hearing people say this. But okay, so this is what I found. Listening to audiobooks is widely considered a form of reading because it engages the same parts of the brain for comprehension, even though the sensory input is audio rather than visual. Studies show that comprehension is comparable between listening and reading, and the experience can improve vocabulary, critical thinking, and literacy for many, especially those with disabilities. So how you take in your story, whether it's physical or not, doesn't actually matter. It's the comprehension of the story. So I don't even know why that is such a topic of discussion for a lot of folks. I think it's silly. Also, some people don't have the time to sit there and physically read books all the time because they have life happening all around them. They may have kids, they may have family that they need to take care of and support, and they have jobs and school and other things. So sometimes it's not always feasible for people to sit down and carve out an hour, 10, 15, 20 minutes of time to be able to read a book. So that is my thoughts and opinions on that. However you can fit in the time for reading, do what you can, because reading, I really think, is meant to be an experience. It's meant to transport you, and how you decide to do that is completely up to you. Sometimes I like to read and listen to the audiobook at the same time. That is a fun experience. It really immerses you. You get to, I think, take in the story even a little bit better because you hear the inflections in someone's voice as they're kind of acting out these characters. I don't know, a lot of people love graphic audios. For me personally, I don't, because it's very distracting for me. But to each their own. It's all up to you and what you prefer your reading experience to be. that is my thoughts. All right, so far I have cut out some strips. So how many strips do I have? Because I think I have 13 books. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Next hot take as we prepare to start writing. Where are my pens? I brought pens in here and now I can't find them. You see, I'm a mess right now. I'm simply a complete mess. All right, next one. This one I really share a lot of sentiment with. Just because a book is popular on TikTok doesn't mean it is good. Yes, I believe that is true. And actually, a lot of the times I try to, if I'm going to take recommendations, I tend to lean towards people that have similar reading tastes, and maybe we have read similar books in the past that we have equally enjoyed. And so I may take a reading recommendation from them or a book recommendation from them. But very often, and especially in the beginning of me first using TikTok, which is odd because I do post my own TikToks for books on there. I know that's very contradictory, but I have found that I don't really trust the recommendations on TikTok, and I think that it also could be that I'm maybe even on the wrong side of TikTok in terms of books. But hear me out, there have definitely been some good recommendations. There have also been some that I have read the books and I'm like, why? So a good example is actually, it's all the way up there, but The Sundown Motel. I was really excited, very, very excited to read that book. You can even ask my best friend Jessica. I was really looking forward to picking that book up and, exploring a little bit, right? Wrong. I did not enjoy it. It was not a good time. I shouldn't say it wasn't a good time. It's just a matter of it was kind of boring and really drawn out, and I didn't get any spook factor like I thought I was gonna get. There was just a lot of question marks happening in my head as to why some people thought this book was good. But here's the thing as well, differencing of opinions is really important, and I think that it should be a safe space for people to have differences of opinions, especially when it comes to books. People get really heated when it comes to authors that they love and books that they love. Not every book is for everybody. So I don't know if it's necessarily just that TikTok book recommendations aren't something that you can trust. I think it more so stems from the fact that there are going to be books that are for some and not for some, and you have to weave through and find the people that you feel like you can connect to the most, that are going to give you good recommendations. And once you find those people, I think that you're kind of in a safe space. But until you find that, my personal experience has been that the recommendations have not been great. So that is my thoughts on that hot take. Yes. So it says, romance needs to bring back the slow burn. We're tired of insta love. I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but for me, 100%, I am so ready for the slow burns to come back. I think for me, that is a big reason why I'm not a huge fan of romances. I'm also not a huge fan, I'm realizing, of spice in books. I think that, again, I've said this before, if it is something that is going to propel the story along, I'm not a big fan of that. And if it's not necessary, I don't want to read it. So I think for me, one of the things that I've come to enjoy when it comes to romances is the slow burn, the progression between these two characters that you're rooting for, but will ultimately fall for each other. One of my favorite books that I talk about way too much on here is Love in Other Words, and this is definitely a slow burn in the beginning because they are young kids, and we follow them over the course of being kids, going into teenage, and then we eventually meet them again as adults. And their relationship obviously doesn't start right from the bat. That makes sense. And I really loved seeing them develop this really beautiful connection and becoming something more. And I think that that is something that is very lacking in books today. When it comes to romance, I just find it too insta love is really unbelievable and not enjoyable. An example that I have is like all superheroes need, what is it? All superheroes need PR. That was a random book that I found off of Kindle Unlimited, and a lot of spice in that book, so I didn't enjoy it for that reason. But they are basically enemies, and then all of a sudden they're just boom, they're completely obsessed with each other, like jumping in bed, like that. It was just too much, too fast. You can't go from like not liking each other to all of a sudden you're magnets and you can't stay away from each other. It's not believable to me, so I don't know, I don't like that stuff. I don't really like it. It's not, I think not everything has to be real life, right? It's a book, you use your imagination and you're meant to have fun, and it's escapism. But also sometimes you want it to be a little bit realistic, because you want to, maybe for like a romance, you want to have hope, you want to you know, live vicariously through that. I don't know, there's many different reasons why you may want that. So sometimes it's just nice to have something that's a little bit more believable than not. I don't know. Oh, this is another great one. Another great one. Every romance book at this point has this, and I think it is safe to say that many of us are quite tired of this, but the third act breakup. This hot take is the third act breakup is the most boring romance trope, and authors need to retire it 100%. Not every romance book needs to have a third act breakup. If it makes sense for the story, okay, whatever, but quite frankly, I'm sick of that. I think one book that I really enjoyed this year was Nora Goes Off to Script, and this is by Annabelle Monaghan, and this was my first book that I read by her. Loved it. Really cute, really sweet, super short as well. Would highly recommend, except for the third act breakup. And the third act breakups are always something that are very, like, if you just communicated, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't need to be a thing. And that really grinds my gears. Like, just communicate with each other. We're making progress on the front of this TBR jar. Now, I am a little bit apprehensive and nervous for this jar, because I am not good with following TBRs because of my tendency to be a mood reader. I really just have to be in the mood, and it has to kind of sound good for me to want to read it. So we're gonna do our best to kind of stick to it, but yeah, I'm a little bit apprehensive of this TBR jar. But I feel like this is the only way to really hold myself accountable and be able to finish these books in time. There are definitely some books on my radar that I would rather get to sooner rather than later. There's a part of me that wants to get to the bigger books first so that they're done and out the way, and those will be the hardest like pills to swallow, but they also scare me. So there is that. But we are, I think after this, what I'll probably do is I'll probably pull from the jar so that we can see the first book that I need to get done. And then when I do my reading wrap up, we'll actually find out how many I did check off of this list. Yes, book covers do matter. I'm judging the book by it every time. I'm going to judge it every time, 100%. I am a judge the book by the cover, and I know that there is that saying to not do that, right? Rightfully so, I get it. You know, you should never judge anything by how it looks, but let's be real. That is the first impression of the book. If it does not look appealing, if it does not give me a sense of what I can expect from the book, then I will not have any interest in it. The book can say a lot about the book. The cover can say a lot about the book. without having to say anything. So an example, this one right here. This, when I look at the cover, even if I don't even read the name, I can feel whimsical, magical, fantasy-like elements happening in this book, and it feels light. It feels light, and it feels like it would be fun and entertaining. Now, I don't know if we have a cover on our book here that I'm not a big fan of the cover. I'm trying to see. There probably is. This cover. This doesn't tell me anything. This really doesn't tell me anything. Fireworks, okay. Is it meant to be like sparks of love because it's the true love experiment? I don't know. This doesn't tell me anything. And if I was walking past this and this book and I saw these on the shelf together, let's just say that was the case, I'm picking up this book before I pick up this one. That is just the facts of it. Now, whether or not that book is actually going to be good, I don't know, but I don't care because I think the cover is really pretty. And at least I will say that is what will get me to pick up the book and read the synopsis before I pick up the other book. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. So I think that all of us at some point in time have judged the book by the cover and have either had a good experience or a bad experience with it. I can understand why we should not do that, but I think that is just human nature that we are going to do that. We do that every day with other things as well. We constantly judge people and things based off of how they look. So that is just facts. I am going to pull from the TBR jar. I'm happy that I did it. It's done, but I am nervous because there is a daunting list of books, and there are books that I would like to start off with first. Like I said, I would I would really like to get through like the bigger books first. That would be ideal. And truthfully speaking, that would also mean getting through this bad boy first, but I don't know if that would be the wisest of ideas, because then you're starting off really hard and you might not finish. So anyways, let's just see. We'll leave it up to the fates to decide what is going to happen. All right, what book I would like to see get picked first would be Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but we're gonna find out right now. Okay. All right, I don't know. Can you see this? Oh, no. No way! I looked at it. Okay. No way. No way. No. There's no way. I got the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm so excited. I literally was praying for that. Manifestation at its finest. That was so fun. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay, so this is the next book. This is the next book. I'm so excited. Okay. Great. Beautiful. Love it. Done. You guys let me know what your thoughts are on any of these hot takes, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. What do you guys think about my TBR jar? Do you think that I am going to get through all 12 books? I think it is. I don't know. But the first book that we have up on our list, thanks to our TBR jar that we made here today, is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I still can't believe I actually pulled that. I wanted that one to be the one, and I manifested it. I believed in it as I was shaking up the jar. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me in another video. I'm very tired. I definitely want to go lay down now and rest. So I think I'm gonna go do that. Probably should find something to eat, even though I haven't had a huge appetite. Either way, that is all that I have for you guys today. So thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. I don't know if this video is going to go up or before or after Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.